Guys, welcome to the stream. Sunny here, and today, December 1st, Merry Christmas, we are covering the global patch notes at Black Desert Foundry. Link is going to be in the description if you want to check out the details yourself, but let's get straight into it. Quick summary here. We got RBF improvements, crystal recovery function improvements, awesome. Ulukita grind spot improvements, crypt improvements, changes to daycare Olens. We got some new ship guild gallery, UI changes, other changes, and some class changes. So let's dive into it. First off, the RBF changes. We heard about this yesterday in the dev talk from Jay. And the TLDR is they'll make more improvements going forward. But right now, they're changing it. So whenever you join RBF, if you leave and join again, you will go on the same team. So you can no longer keep leaving and joining until you go on the winning team. You get a team selected and you will be on that team no matter what. So it should even it out a bit more and not be that lopsided, because a lot of people were doing this. At least some people were, making for unfun matches. On top of that here, we have when first entering the RBF, the combined attack and defense stats of both teams will be taken into consideration to select a team. So they'll be trying to balance the teams a bit more, and then also avoiding people trying to join the winning team. So hopefully a bit more balanced. More changes should be coming though. Potentially increase silver value, etc, etc. So we'll see next week, I'm sure. We got finally an in-game crystal recovery function. Now, obviously the best solution would be to just remove the crystal breaking in PvE. But PA did say that they don't want to do that for various reasons. So the next best thing is for just making improvements to the system. Right now, I bet a lot of people are not aware that there is a policy in Black Desert that you get 2 crystal restores, no questions asked, every year if you write a ticket. Of course, there's some issues with that. It's 1, if you're not aware about it, how would you know? 2, it's annoying having to log in, write a ticket because of something stupid happening, like you lacking and dying or whatnot. And 3, it takes man hours. There has to be somebody at the other end, like responding to the tickets and everything. So what they've done is they've now made an in-game automated system, and they've increased it from 2 restores to 3 restores per year. So let's take a look at it. If you die and you lose crystals, you will be getting a pop-up here, your regular one, and then you can choose restore your crystals. So you can choose yourself at your leisure 3 crystal restores per year. If you were losing multiple crystals, it only uses 1 restore and you get all the crystals back. So it's any amount of crystals lost in 1 death. And you can save them and keep them for as much as you want. If it happens that you can't use this, let's say you die, DC or whatever, they actually thought about that, and you will be able to restore the crystals out of your trash bag. So if you die, DC, whatever, and you lose crystals and you don't get a chance to do this because it's BDO, you can go into your trash can and you can actually recover the crystals from there, and it will use the resource that way. So there is like a sort of a failsafe. And I think this is absolutely great. A lot of people are now going to be able to restore the crystals. They probably weren't aware about the ticket system being a guaranteed restore. And honestly, it's going to free up some GMs to be able to answer other tickets that are pressing and important for the game. Great change. So happy to see this. They also made one more note about this. Up here, we believe that this era required improvements, crystal breaking in in-game spots, and we will carefully consider finding and resolving more fundamental issues in the future. So this is not the final solution. This is something that's already there. Now it's just automated. That's great, and hopefully they find some better long-term solutions to crystal breaking PvE, because it really sucks losing some gearings. We also got some changes to the Ulukita grind zones. All of the new in-game spots pretty much seems to have 100% hit rate. So any amount of evasion you have don't really function. So if you're using evasion gear, you are at a disadvantage in survivability at in-game spots over DR gear. Now you still have DR and evasion gear, so it's not like you are completely squishy. However, a lot of times you will want to have like Oregon boots or whatever for in-game PvE. They are reducing the accuracy at City of the Dead, Tonguered Ruins, and Darkseeker's Retreat, the new Ulukita spots. So if you have evasion gear, you should be getting some value out of it. And hopefully you're going to be around as tanky as a DR build would be. One thing that's important to note here is this is only for the Urukita spots. No changes to daycare, which is always from the exact same issue. So hopefully they'll think about that and add the changes to the daycare spots in next week's patch. But so far, it's just for these places here. We also have some changes to Crypt. This is an amazing change for anyone looking to grind Crypt. They are combining all the CCs from the regular mobs into only being stun and stiffness. So instead of having to cap out your knockdown, your bounce, stun, stiffness, you just have to cap out your stun and stiff. It's going to free up crystals. It's going to be easier to hit the resist without oversacking other things as well. It's a huge buff to the place, makes it way easier to get in there and do it. One thing to note is they don't change the resistance of the Dark Knight and Rationale, the boss spawn, so they will still be able to float you, but you weren't really building float resist to begin with, so but that is not going to be a big change. You're going to be able to skip out on the KD resist now. Ugh. They're also making some changes to Olin's Valley daycare spots. They are increasing the maximum HP of the boss. And they're also making the hand smack down at 70% HP instead of 60%. The reason for this is with good groups, with shies and everything, you have to stop DPS a lot of the times when the hand is coming down, or because you will overkill it. And we do it, unfortunately, from time to time. We accidentally end up killing the golem because we do too much damage during the hand animation, and it basically just despawns everything. It's a waste of time. So they're changing it, so it's going to be easier. You can now just fully nuke. You don't have to stop DPS. So it looks like it's a nerf, but it's really not a nerf. And it's a slight nerf for some groups, but a lot of groups, it's just going to mean you can just chill, you can just nuke, you don't have to think too much about stopping DPS. And they are giving you 5x as much trash from the boss. So it's going to be a really nice buff to the place. It's going to make it a bit more straightforward to grind without having to stop damage. Now, obviously, this is only if you're using a Shy. If you don't grind there with a Shy, yeah, this is terrible for you. But then again, Shy is mandatory for group content these days, so get a Shy. They make improvements to the Guild Galley, updating it, making it stronger, making it better to compete with all the new ships. So this should be a new powerhouse of a boat. They are also adding minigames, more cannons, and you can jump into it. Up to 10 guild members can jump into the ship, and they'll be able to do a minigame here that will increase the movement speed of the boat whenever the captain chooses to use the wind tail speedy sails. So something to do with the guild. It should be the most powerful ship now with these changes, but yeah, there you go. They don't care about that. All the changes, don't care about that. For the Black Shrine, they are also making some changes to Bari. During the battle with the Bari boss, the last hit of the attack that causes explosions to the left and right has been removed. Also during Bari, the issue where the judgment range and timing of the attack that caused explosion left and right has been was not appropriate, has been fixed. For Dark Rift, they are lowering the maximum respawn time for 10 to 7 days. For Node War and Sieges here, they are changing when you're disbanding an alliance. There was some bugs with it, they're fixing that. System changes, this here is potentially big. They are changing the security model to sync code. The support of the policy of the 16 models has been changed, and the module has been changed to enable faster security response to unauthorized programs. So hopefully they'll be able to catch people using macros and things like that better. Security model will be updated to the official server after stability verification, and we will get an advance notice. We got some server optimization, which I'm not holding my breath on, but if they can fix some issues and lag and optimizing, great. And they are also been still working on the game crashing and shutting down, and hopefully that should be better with this as well whenever it hits live. Finally, the class changes. The TLDR here is they are not doing the PvP changes today. We will see changes that will affect PvP going forward, most likely next week, but they didn't confirm it's next week. There's a lot of issues, they say here, with making PvP changes compared to PvE, because any change to one class affects all other classes, right? If one class gets more trash per hour in PvE, your class doesn't suddenly get less. But if you buff a class in PvP, it becomes stronger, and that's technically a nerf to you in some regard. So all changes have affects all classes. So it becomes a bit more complex when you're trying to balance these things out. So hopefully from next week, fingers crossed, we'll start seeing some rolling out on class changes. It sounds a bit like that they're trying to make big patches with a lot of classes getting some adjustments at once. Because if you roll out like 2-3 classes at a time, right, you might not see the bigger picture. And I think they want to avoid people panicking too much whenever it is about PvP. So it sounds like they're going to try and make some bigger patches with a lot of classes at a time. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see where this one leads. But yeah, I guess we have to stay tuned for more on the PvP changes. For PvE, there are 2 classes getting buffed today. Out of nowhere, nobody expected this one. Awakening Nova are getting huge damage buffs for PvE. Cooldown reduction on Starfall without acceleration from 12 to 10 to match the accelerated version. We got damage increase in PvE only on Royal Fencing from 1370 to 1783 on a high hitter. Over here, the flinch one from 1830 to 2196. Astral Calls going from 2257 times 8 to a 27 hitter times 8. Over here, Frozen Ring is from 1901 12 times to 2281 times 11. And Slicing Ring finally here getting some huge numbers as well, around 20% on this one to top it off. Kind of crazy. Awakening Nova is already one of the best PvE classes in the game, and this is some big numbers. Interesting, honestly, I wasn't expecting it. However, it looks like they didn't forget Kuno. So Awakening Kuno is finally getting some real tangible PvE damage buffs here. They're buffing Moonstorm by 35% damage. Sarspree is getting a 25% damage buff. Pinwheel Fury, a 20 hitter, is getting a 35% damage buff. This is going to deal over 40,000 damage on this ability in PvE. And we are also getting a couple of improvements on the C swapping to make it more natural on Sarspree and also on Half Moon Slash, and also improving some linkage between the abilities. Will this be enough for Awakening Kuno? I don't know, but I am really happy. The numbers are actually looking really good now. Hopefully it will be a competent grinder. We'll have to see, but at least they're doing something to the class. And that's it for this time's Global Lab Patch. I'll see you all in the next one.